Okay, thank you. So yesterday we looked at a whole lot. Basically, we were looking at apart from the introduction we did with our three modules, I mean four modules in cybersec. One of the things we did yesterday, we were looking at navigating Windows Linux directory. I told you the reason why we need to do that. We also look at Windows, maybe not in today's class. The reason is because we are cybersecurity experts, and then there's a lot required from us. In the sense that if you compare our domain, which is cybersecurity, with other domains like software engineering and every other domain, you discover that the burden on us is much more than the burden on other guys. Reason being that if you're a software developer, you don't really need to learn different operating system to be able to program your software. But for a cybersecurity expert, especially a defender or an attacker, you need to understand these different environments so that you will be able to defend or attack them, right? So you need to understand Linux very well. You need to understand how Windows work. You need to understand the architecture of Mac, everything that comes with. Somebody, your mic is disturbing. I don't know who that person is. I guess it's a Gina Wajud or I don't know. Your mic. Okay. So we talked about that. We mentioned few directory, Linux directory. I hope you went through the material. It will really help us and to help us to be fast. We looked at a different Linux directory. We also talked about few commands. We look at the list command, ls. We talked about the pwd, right? We talked about the ls command. We looked at the ls-l command yesterday. We talked about the ls-a command yesterday. Please, you have the video. Try to go over it. You can go. I know it's about 2 hours video, but try to go over it. Sometimes it might be very difficult for you to watch a longer video. Next time, I will try to edit and make it shorter. So then we talked about viewing logs. Also, we talked about using cd, right? Change directory. We also look at creating files, making directory, making folders of making directory. We also talk about copying files, how you copy file, how you move file. I don't know if we talked about moving file. How you remove file, we talked about that. We talked about how you find files also yesterday. Please look at this material very well. It will help you how you locate file using few commands like which, locate, find, and all of that. So we have really looked at text editor nano. We looked at creating a file using touch, right? And we also look at using cards to impute words into the file you created and echo also to echo uh, strings of words into the file. Then, okay, we talked about cards yesterday, how to filter. Where this is basically filters cards to view, and we look at head to filter some information, and then tail to filter the last 10 lines of an information, head to filter the first 10 lines of a certain information within a file, sort to sort a certain file. So this, please, I didn't really have time to go through this. You can do it yourself, trust me. If you read the material carefully, you can go through this and do it yourself. So I think I will even put it as an assignment for you now. So there are a lot. Grep command. Okay. Let me explain grep command. Did I use grep yesterday? No, I didn't use grep. I used find. So grep command searches file for a specific text strings, filters line, and displays matching results. Grep is a powerful tool commonly used to search for log, configuration files, or any text file. I might not show you this particular log file the way it is, but let me just demonstrate how I use grep command. For example, let's say you are navigating a whole lot or a list of items that are quite much, and you need to carefully sort out what you're looking for from that items that you have. So one of the commands that can easily help you get what you're looking for is a grep command. So let me get into my Kali. For example, I will take you into, I just want to see if I can get a script that has a lot of commands. So what I will do first, I think, let me go through the files. Then, sorry, file system. Just give me time. I want to locate something. File system, user. Then let me see, share. Uh, let me go for mmap. Let me see mmap. Please, I'm just demonstrating something. I want to show you how we grep, okay, scripts. So these are in number of scripts, for example, number of scripts. So how do I grep? For example, if you take a look, we have some HTTP scripts, some so I might not be able to figure out an entire HTTP script for this list of item I have inside of this directory. So what I want to do with this directory, I just want to copy the path. So I will get into my, so I'll get into this path. We want to just say list dash L. So I'll paste the path here, that path, then grep. So I want to grep, let's assume FTP, right? So what I did is I'm going back. I have an item here. I have, a list full of different things, right? So I wanted to use FTP, or I wanted to see the FTP item that is part of this list. So what I needed to do, two ways. They said that I tried to strain myself looking for FTP everywhere here, or I will use a tool that can help streamline the strings, help cutter the strings, help me pull up the strings from the item, from the list of items. I don't know if you get me, right? So I did that using grep. So for example, I can say ls-l, then let's paste that command again, the path, without grepping anything. This is the number of items that exist under that directory. Can you see how numerous and much, how voluminous it is? So how do I figure out what I'm looking for? Let's assume I'm looking for brute force, brute. Guess what I would do? I will just grep brute. Maybe I want to use a command for brute forcing. So I will just get brute. It's still much. Let's say I want to get anything, I just need to grep it, right? So all these things are quite easy. Once you have the guide, you have the material, you have a lecturer, then it's easy to flow, right? It's easy to flow. We have this WC, what can't. WC is actually a command that quickly determines how large a file is or how much data is contained in the file. For example, if you have a file and you have 10,000 words inside of that file, what count can help you figure out the number of those files, right? So you can do that yourself, right? So it's very easy to use what count, I count a password file, and then you can see how it's represented there. So said, right? Said is stream editor, stream editor, stream editor is a command tool capable of performing various text edits such as processing, modifying, adding, deleting, or replacing text between files, right? So there is a lot of commands, right? A set can help us remove files, add files inside the file name. For example, I have Alice, whatsoever. I can use set to rearrange the file again, right? I rearrange the file. So where you have Alice, replace Alice with George, do this and stuff like that. So you can replace, you can delete, you can modify using sed. We have the awk. Awk command is designed for test and data processing tasks, and it is especially effective when working with column-based data, right? So if you have a data that has column, like lists, so you can use awk command to rearrange, print out files, and do stuff like that. So where I want to start from now is package management. Then we will now get into user management. So let's look at package management. We've not talked about how you manage your packages on your Linux. So we are basically starting from this point tonight. Package management. So let me just give you an overview before I switch to my terminal. In the daily use and system administration of Linux systems, managing software is critically important. This thing you do, you might not know why you do it. So let's get perspective to this thing we are about to talk about. Linux distribution provides various packages. Please, I don't know if I'm still okay. I think I'm still here with you guys. Am I still? Are we together? Okay. Thank you. So, I was saying something. Linux distribution provides various package managers to facilitate tasks such as software installation, updating, removal. These packages or package managers allow you to manage software in package format, along with their dependencies, right? Each Linux distribution uses specific package management system and package formats. In this section, we'll explore package management tool commonly used in Debian Linux called the APT. We'll look at the APT. So key features of package manager. Linux offer various of this feature, right? For software package managing. We have the package downloading, automatically download software package and dependencies from the internet. There are this dependency resolution that has to identify and automatically install dependencies required by a package. Also, we have package installer and remover. We have update and upgrades. We have configuration files and directories, right? So let's look at the APT. I'm sure you're quite familiar with APT, not familiar in terms of knowing the importance or knowing why APT, but familiar with using APT this, APT update, APT install, right? So let's look at it in context. Advanced Package Tool, that's the meaning of APT. Advanced Package Tool is a powerful tool used to manage software packages in Debian Linux, such as Ubuntu, Kali, Parrot, many, right? This tool allows users to easily install new software, update existing software, remove unnecessary softwares, and automatically resolve dependencies between software packages. With simple command lines, right, users can keep their system up to date and secure. So let's look at updating packages, right? So all these things you do, why do you need to update packages? As part of a Linux administrator, there's a need to always update Linux package, Linux system or Linux packages. One of the reasons is we have tools developed. We have a developer developing tools every day. We have systems developer upgrading on the operating system every time. There's a need for you to be up to date. Linux is not quite the same with other systems. There's a need for software to be up to date to function very well. If you need to pull up or install a new package on the system, sometimes that package might depend on all that dependency, right? Might depend on a previous Python that you have installed, might depend on something that you have installed. And if installing that package requires the Python that has already been installed to be up to date, you must first of all keep that Python up to date before installing the file. So because of this, it is something of necessity for us to always update. So let's look at updating files. This is what we have done. If I'm switching to my Linux right away, and we'll get right into it. So I will just try to clear my screen. We're not talking about super user yet. On I'm still on normal user privilege. So updating file. To update file is simple. Sudo I have not really explained what sudo is. Sudo means super user do. Super user do is a way to give an elevated privilege to a standard account in order to perform some certain activity in the Linux system. So Linux system make it very difficult for a non-standard account to run commands, install programs and packages without without the privilege of an administrator. So before you run some command, Linux will prompt you to use an administrative privilege. Just in case you are not the admin of the system, you won't be able to run some program. So because we are the admin of the system, we can easily use, okay, sudo this, and we enter the password because we are admins. But in a real life scenario, if you are using a system that is not yours, especially not system, you won't have access to the person password, except the person is telling you the password. And if you need to run files to do some special things, it won't allow you except you get the privilege of an administrator. So that's the reason why we use sudo to run commands. Now, I could have said apt update. So what would be the issue here? Could not file, what is it? Permission denied. So the at the end of the day, permission denied. That means with the normal standard account that I have, how do I know if it's a standard account? Let me do who am I? You are Kali, you are not root. But guess what? If I do sudo su and I now enter my password. Now let me do who am I? Guess who am I? Root. That means I have a root privilege now. I have administrative privilege. So let me just go back to Kali, right? I'm back to my previous right? So I can run commands as simple as apt update because the account is not, is not an elevated account. So I need a privilege to run this. So what I will do in this case is to say, okay, sudo, which is super user do, super user, I'm using the super user to perform this activity, apt update, right? So guess what? It will request now if you are using superuser, the next thing is okay, the system will ask you, can you provide the password? Yeah. If you don't know it, you are free to enter. So it will run, right? So in most cases, what Linux does is if once you run a program that requires an administrative privilege on a standard account and you provided the credentials to actually run that program, when you are running subsequent program that needs an administrative privilege, you will need to provide credentials like password again. So it will take record of the fact that, okay, you did it before, I asked you of the credentials, you provided it, so let me just give you the right to flow, right? So it does that sometimes. So this is basically how we use the advanced package tools to update our packages on the system. What we are trying to do now is updating the packages that already exist on the system. So apt key packages list in a database on your local system. It does not connect to servers each time you search, thus providing fast results. But the result might not be up to date. So because of that fact, right, there's a need to always update those results saved at the database of your local system, right? So that's what we are basically doing. It might take time because of class. I will want to stop it, but for you, make sure it runs, right? I'm stopping it. I want to be fast. So let's search. Okay, there's something that's after updating. I have something else on the script. It says searching in package list. Now that we have updated the package list in the database, we can search within those lists. For example, to search for a package with the name htop or anything. You can say, okay, do we have a package called htop? Do we have a package called Python? Do we have a package called library or lib? Do we have a package called dpkg? All those kind of stuff. So we just want to search for packages. So how do we search for packages? So I will also use my sudo privilege, that sudo apt. What am I trying to do? Searching for packages. I will now do search Let's assume I'm doing HTOP, right? So does it exist on my package? Is it there? I'm trying to figure out if I have a tool or package called HTOP. So we looked at it critically. So from the result I've shown, I can see bash top. I see top, and I see what am I seeing again? I see B top, I see H top Kali. So I have seen. So there is a package called H top Kali rolling, which is setting version ID running on the system. Then that's the end, right? I press Q to quit it. So can I search if there are, let me just search lib, and I figure for libraries of any sort. And if you take a look at it critically, you have few libraries. So I have this particular library, and it's just a way to confirm if some tools, no, that's not the word, tools is not the word. If some packages are updated or installed, right? Search, right? So as you can see, the result in addition of htop, so there is a related package. So anything you can, if the package is not there, you will see it. For example, I'm not seeing any lib, direct word lib here. Could it be that it's not directly right? I don't have any word lib. So when you search, for example, if I say search Python, I should be able to see, I could say Python 3, you should be able to search and return, okay, did I update programs like Python 3? Is it up to date? I'm seeing 5.0 or Python 3 packages for astronomy here, right? So did I pull up all the packages? Are they up to date, right? So this is how we search for programs. For example, you might be, why do you need to do this? You might be installing stuff and then not tell you that installation not complete, packages. I don't know if I can pull up something like that now. It's quite rare to get such an example because I've updated my system and upgraded it. Sometimes when you are trying to install, you will see error like installation not complete. Some student will turn back to me and say it's not working. You did not bother to look at it. Look at the instruction. In most cases, when you find error, it's likely suggesting a solution to you. Linux does that every time. I'm teaching you this because I want you guys to be an administrator, not just experts that are ready to work anytime from now, right? So Linux will return you back error, but with a suggestion, right? Suggesting of a possible solution to your problem. Sometimes, if it's permission issue, will tell you that it could not error that obtain permission, or something like, okay, packages you could not install, packages need to be updated or upgraded. That's the solution it's trying to suggest. It's trying to tell you that there are dependencies needed for a certain software to be installed. So this software is failing because those packages are either not updated nor upgraded. So you see the error, you capitalize on the error and say, I failed, it did not work. Meanwhile, there is a kind of clue to your solution down the line. You did not check, right? So one thing you do as a security expert is for you to observe. This key to attention is very paramount. Like it's very necessary. This attention, your attention span, your concentration span is very necessary in terms of security because people can throw you under the bus. Let me give you a scenario. Right, you can be on an interview table and they will throw you under the bus. The reason why sometimes they throw you under the bus, they might ask you something different from what you think they will ask you. They can just ask you, there is a cat on the table, there's a cat on the cupboard, there's a cat this. If you want to save, which one will you save? Sometimes stupid. If you don't critically give attention to what they're saying, you might lose, you might not get that job, right? So the reason why they are trying to throw you under the bus is to test your ability to think, your ability to observe and pay attention, right? So is a skill you must learn. Pay attention. Don't hurry off stuff. You can't be an analyst. You are hurrying off You don't hurry. What if you hurry and hurry of a threat? You just you not get time, or you cannot, you not have time. No, please. So I'm just telling you that whenever you see error, before you report it to your instructor, check. Could it be I can solve this problem? That's when you start learning. When you look at the error, you feel that this is a challenge, let me solve it. You start learning, trust me. You will learn further than your lecturer will teach you. Trust me, let me give you a disclaimer. I want you to know that 100% of cybersecurity, an instructor cannot teach you 20%. It's not possible. I've never seen it. Let it be the creator of cybersecurity. It cannot give you 20%. They can give you less than that. If you want to have 100%, you have to work for 80 yourself. Trust me. Right? Attacker might mention this. By the time you now start doing, you now discover that there are three others so he did not talk about. Not that he intentionally did not want to talk about it. It might be that it did not flow, like it did not come to him to talk about it. Scenario did not play out. I might be working on something and installing now, I will not have error. So I will not there will not be need for me to talk about the solution for an error because I run it, it went successfully. So when you are now running it, you all failed. So when you are not trying to solve it, you will not discover that there are other solutions. No. The reason why I did not teach you, because my own did not fail. I did not see need to look for that solution. But when you were not trying it, what I thought you failed, you now went deeper to check. You now discover that there are other ways. Oh, not because I did not want to teach you, because the need did not arise. If the need had arose, sorry, I would have taught it. I don't know if you are getting what I'm trying to say. I would have mentioned it, but since it did not arise, it is now your job. That's the 80% of your job now. Because when you are practicing, you will fail. I'm telling you. You will the command that work for me will not work for you. You will, what did they go on here? What is happening? Right? But if it has failed with me, I would have been able to teach you other alternatives. But because it was successful, I didn't even bother to say, okay, there are other alternatives. But the thing is, it will fail at your end. By the time you fail, don't just return to me that it failed. No, try first. Try. By the time you try, you might discover that you find two other ways it can work. That one, nobody taught you. And things that you learn yourself sometimes, it can stick somehow. But sometimes what people teach you, it sticks better. For me, it sticks better. What person sit down to teach me sticks better than what I learned on my own. Except I worked it over again before it can stick. So it differs from for people. For some people, what they research, they know it better than what somebody taught them. For me, what somebody taught me, I know better. Because as you teach me, I go and do research. To be like two-factor authentication, two teaching. You said it, I went to dig deep, I gather more, so I know it. But if I the one that find it out, nobody taught me, so I found it out, it was just raw. I might not be accurate with what I found out. It might not be totally correct. So at that point, I might not really know it. But if I found out you taught me, whether you're accurate or not, but I went back to research, complementing what you taught with what I researched, it sticks better, right? I'm just trying to tell you what you should be doing. Even though you give me 2 years to teach you, I might not be able to deliver everything. But if you step ahead of me, trust me, you will motivate, even in fact, you make your lecturer to be up and doing, right? So let's get into it. I was trying to just explain errors. Okay, so installing and updating packages. How do you install programs? How do you install programs? So I just talked about updating. So let's talk about installing. So installing will also be using the, what am I using now? We'll also be using the sudo apt, right? Sudo apt install. So what we do with this command sudo apt install is to install a new program that is not yet on the system, a new package, right? So let me try to install htop, right? So this is a new package that is not on the system, or I can decide to say, okay, let me install Vim. Anything, it could be Cloma. Okay, so let's do Vim, installing Vim. I think I have it already. Okay, I don't think I have it. So the following package we automatically installed are no longer required. Oh, I think I do. Okay. Oh, see, let's look at something together. I love this. Observe, I'm trying to install Vim. Vim is a test editor, right? I'm trying to install Vim. But observe, before installing these new packages, there are other dependencies that needs to be on the system before this Vim can be installed. Observe the statement. The following packages we automatically installed and are no longer required. What are the packages? Core FTP FS, Geo Abi, .2 whatsoever 2.0, limp crypt dash dev. So these are dependencies that are actually needed for this software Vim to be installed, right? That's why we need to update. That's why we need to upgrade. I don't know if you are getting the story now. Without updating or upgrading as a Linux system, when you try to install stuff, it will fail. It will tell you that something, okay, if it fails, let's assume these things were not installed. And this is just fail, say error. Call FTP, something is not installed. Geo repository is not. You won't know what that means. Like the next thing is error. Look at what it's saying. Look at what it's saying. Meanwhile, it might be suggesting at the end of the day, can you try update or upgrade? That means when you try that, the Linux is trying to tell you it could solve your problem, but you won't want to check, right? So this is the reason why we update and upgrade. These dependencies, we need to always update them so that any software we are trying to install or package will go smoothly. Now, they said we don't need to install all of them. They are already provided. Now, I think I do have Vim. Then I now say upgrading. I have Vim. So upgrading, the only dependency that wasn't there, that the system needs to install now, look at it, it's trying to install it, is this lame sodium 26. I think it came newly, so it needs to be installed now, right? So that's why I will now say yes. So the installation will begin. So at the end of the day, these packages will be pulled up. Look at Vim, whatsoever, to be pulled up, and while I have it on my system. Right? So this is what APT does, advanced package tools. This is what it does, right? It's trying to update all the libraries. You can see them being libraries, trying to do that, right? So that's installing packages. Let's talk about upgrade, right? Okay. So you can see running kernel seems to be updated. They are giving me it seems to be updated, right? Right. So that's how to install programs. You can now, how can I test my Vim, right? So Vim, I can do Vim notes. So you open up a test pad when I can be writing. This is where we write code. We use it to write Python, Bash script. We'll get to that point. I told you do Python now. You do Bash script. So we'll get to that point. Let me just close it up. Hey, I want to close my terminal. Okay. Okay. So updates. How do you perform updates? So at the end of the day, I'll give you a combine commands. We'll also go with our sudo apt upgrade. So it to request from our password. So it's trying to upgrade the repository. You can see what needs to be upgraded. So okay, all these are up to date, all these are good. Installing dependency. Okay, no. The first are good from here. Let me take it off, you see. So these are stuff, oh, I could not get to the peak. These are stuff, they're already good. But however, upgrading now, there are new dependencies that need to be upgraded. That's why you see as an administrator, you upgrade every time. There are new. Ignoring the fact that we already have numerous ones that are there. But there are new dependencies, installing new dependencies. These are all the dependencies. So some of them suggested, some of them not upgrading, right? So summary of it all, this is what I'm using to upgrade. So I'm not doing it tonight. I'm using about 3 gig to do that, right? So I won't go ahead until I have solid data. I can try that, right? So I hope you get me. So let's try for a distribution of upgrade. So there's difference between upgrade and distribution upgrade. Upgrade is basically upgrading of packages or installing new packages on the system. But distributions is basically the operating system itself. Distribution. Uh, Distribution. Okay, this method will not install any new packages or remove any old one. If this isn't a concern, you can use the this upgrade command. So this upgrade command will help us to do a distribution upgrade. So let me show you the command. I might not be running it. Apt upgrades. Before I do upgrades, I have to do this like dist dash upgrade. That's distribution upgrade, right? So it installed the entire thing on the system, right? I will not want to run that. I will just okay. Now what it does now is installing stuff and removing things that are old, that are not part of the system, operating system is removing them. So this is a when I mean distribution upgrade means I'm upgrading the OS operating system itself, right? So I will not want to continue with it because I don't have the resource to run that. So how do you remove updates? Let me install something quickly, and then I will remove it again. Sudo apt install htop, right? Let me just install this, and then I will remove it. So I just want to now, how do you remove packages? Let's assume you want to undo what you have installed. How do you delete what you have installed or do or remove what you have installed? So do that. We'll use the sudo observe apt remove htop, right? So that is how we remove packages from the system. So do you want to remove this package? Of course, yes. So to confirm if it's actually gone, I can just say which h top to see h top not found. So I've removed it before. I'm removed it. But before now, when I installed it, let me just install it. It doesn't take much. It's small, like 500 KB, maybe 200 KB. So that's what it's using, right? So which, what did we use which to check if a certain file, if a certain package still exists within the system, right? So if I now go with which htop, it will say htop is inside user bin and stuff like that. But once I remove, you will not longer find htop anywhere again. So do you want to remove? Yes, of course. So if you now want to check, how do you check if the file is deleted? So you just do which the name of the file. So it's no longer on my system. So that's how we remove packages from system. So we also have another command that can help remove packages. It's called purge. Purge. So we do sudo apt purge, right? Purge. Then maybe h top is another way of removing system. So it's telling me there's nothing to remove. There's nothing to write. So nothing to remove, right? It's another way to remove a file. If not using remove, you can use purge. Okay, so let's get to a different aspect now. User management. How do you manage user? Yesterday we were able to talk about creating user. Hello, are you still on? I don't know if my screen is showing. Okay. So yesterday we talked about how you create user. Okay, okay, thank you. How you create user. I don't know what they are telling me here on my phone. Let me see. Is it my data? You have used up your data. Oh, sorry, let me subscribe. Uh, Please just give me a moment. My data is about to finish. How? What did I do? Hmm. Please just give me a moment. Let me quickly subscribe. Uh, okay. Okay, we can comment. So user management. Yesterday we looked at creating user, but it was not really the. I mean, I didn't really do much justice to that. So user management in Linux operating system is of a very is of a great importance, right? The reason is because it has for system security. It has for efficient resource sharing, right? You need to properly manage users, give the rights you need to give to users. So it has for security, resource sharing, managing tasks, managing activity, administrative work. It has for all of this. So we'll look at how we manage users, how we create one, how we create group, how we group them, how we remove them, how we assign privileges, how we assign roles. So that's what we want to look at on Linux system, right? So what is user in Linux? In Linux system, users are defined as individuals or entity performing various tasks by logging into the system. So this user management is crucial for controlled access, right? We use it to control access, we use it for resource allocation, we use it for overall system administration, right? So in Linux, a user is associated with a user's account that has several attributes, defining their identity. It defines their privilege within the system. So these attributes includes things like username, which is represented by what we call user ID, which is UID. We have the group ID, which we use a code called GID. Home directory, default share, all of these, their password constitute everything the user's account holds. These are the attributes of a user account. So each user's account possesses unique attributes like unique attribute. You have your unique ID, unique group ID, your password unique, your default share of this are quite unique to each users of the system. So we have types of Linux user. We have the system user, we have the regular user. These are the two types of Linux users, right? Types of users on Linux system. System users are created by the system during installation and are used to run system software and applications. So it's basically the administrative rights. It has the administrative right because it is created when you are creating the system, right? While the regular users are created by the administrator. So you that have created the system user, you can now start creating other user using, other regular user so that they can assign role and permissions to those users. So how do we create a user? We use the command user add. User add. So that's how we use, this is the command we use to create user. So now see, I want to create a user on my system now. Let's assume this user, I don't know if I've used the capacity before, but let's assume this user is, let's say cybersec admin. So I will just call it cybersec, this particular user. So I will add some attributes like the UID, the group ID, and every other thing. So I will add some attributes. So just watch as I enter. So user add. So I'm adding attribute, I'm adding dash u. I'm trying to add a user attribute now, dash u. So here it will be 8002 dash d. Where will the directory be? Is it going to, where am I going? Where is the directory going to be? So I want the directory to be at home, then cyber sec. So I think it's fine like this, cyber sec. So that's where his his default folder will be, his default directory, right? So I want to, what will be the share? So there are a few attributes that I mentioned earlier. I said one of the attributes is UID, that's user ID, group ID, home directory, where the user will be, then default share and password. So what I have here now is user ID, which is 1200, 1002, sorry. The directory where will the user be? It will be at home, then the directory will be cybersec because that's the user will create. So the next thing is share. Where would the share be? It will be in my bin directory, bin bash. So the user now will now be cybersec, right? So this is how we create user. But there is an issue here. What is the user issue? So let me talk about root privilege. Now we have, okay, we were talking about two types of user. We have the system user, we have the regular user. The system user is the account you created while we install the system, which basically has the root privilege. If I say the root privilege, I mean the administrative privilege, right? So how do we obtain that? We use the command sudo su. Am I too fast, guys? Am I too fast? Okay. So you always have the video, please. Because of my time, I really need. It's 10 o'clock already. So I use sudo su to switch to the administrative privilege. So if I want to see who am I now, I will say, okay, I'm root. So I have the rights to run some command. So what I will do now, just copy this, creating an account. Remember, it is only the admin, that the system administrator, that can create regular users. We just said that. So I was trying to use a regular user to create a user. It stopped it. It didn't work. But now that I've switched to the admin's right and privilege, so I can now create a regular user called cybersec without error. So they're telling me that user UID is not unique. That means somebody have used that ID before. So I can twist it to, let's say, 4. Oh, it's not unique. Well, I think it should be fine. Or let me just remove it and put 6. I don't know how many users I have. 8. So 8 is unique. So I think I've created more users. So users have unique ID. Unique ID, right? So you can't have 2 ID. I mean, 1 ID for different users. So I tried 2, it didn't work. I tried 4, it did not work. That means I have accounts that are using this ID already. So 8, I don't have up to 8 accounts on my Linux now. So basically, I will show you how to list out this account later, right? It is a shadow count, it is a password and stuff like that. You see on this account. So now I've been able to create the user cybersec. So with an ID of 1008 and his directory, his folder, his directory is going to be here at home cybersec, and his default share is at bin bash, right? So that's the first thing I do to create the user. So the next thing is to verify if this user is created. How do I do that? I will use the word ID, then I will now type the username, which is cybersec. So if I found something, that means it's true that the user exists. Now that I find something, observe. The UID, that's the user ID, is 1008, that's cybersec. The group ID is 1008, cybersec. Groups ID is 1008, cybersec. That means this user is existing now. Let's assume I want to check if Wajud is a user on my account, right? Let me just show you. So will I have your no, because I've not created a user Wajud. So there's no way I can check for the attribute of such a user on my system. I don't know if you are getting what I'm trying to do, right? So I use the ID cybertech to confirm if this thing was actually created. When we were colliding this unique, so it wasn't create. I mean, we didn't create it at this point because it wasn't unique. So we have this unique ID, right? So we've been able to identify or found that such a user have some attribute and it does exist on our system. So the next thing is, let's look at these attributes in detail. Please, if you go back to the material you have, I really did justice to trying to explain to it. Trying to explain all of this. The user, what is user? It's your unique identifier. So with the username, that's your uniqueness. That's your unique identifier, right? Is your user name within the Linux system. For instance, cybersec is the username of anybody that is maybe the name of the person is cybersec. So his username is cybersec, right? It's a unique ID. That's the username. So what's the unique ID or the user ID and group ID? So each account have its associated IDs, right? These are unique. They are numeric values. They are unique assigned to that ID. While the group ID represents their primary group, right? So we have the home directory. The home directory is designated, it's a designated directory or it's a location where the user personal files. Let's say you created your personal files. You did this, your personal file. We can have 10 users on the system. But for you, when you create personal document and file, where is saved that is your home, it's the user directory, which we specify to be here, home cybersec, right? We talked about default share. We use default share. Okay? Default share specifies the command interpreter when you use the user logs or when the user logs in. So that's where the interprets it, right? Is the bin. Bin is actually a system file, right? So it interprets the password is your unique password, while the group is the group you belong to. So how do I check if this user really exists? Forget the fact that I checked if I created it successfully. But let me check and use the opportunity to see other users on the system. How do I check for users that exist within the system? How do I do that? So I will use the cat command. Remember, cat is to list out something, right? To check the file, content of the file. So I will use cat etc password. So by the time I do that, you will see this last user I created here is cybersec, which has an ID of 1008 and his directory is home cybersec and his share default share is bbash. I don't know if I created this account yesterday, sec. So this sec here too is having his account. So there's an account called juice. Juice also within its own unique ID. There's another account called DVWA. I don't know who this guy is. Lizzie. Okay, Lizzie or Lizzie. There's an account called Lizzie. There's Capacity. There is Kali. Sorry. There is GVM. So there are numerous accounts on the systems. This is the root guy that has the privilege to do a whole lot of stuff. So if I want to give cybersec a root, make him a root user now, I have to specify that the shared directory, the shared default share will be user b zsh. So I have to put him there. So we'll get to that point, right? So this is a way to confirm all the users that exist on the Linux. So cards etc password, that's passwd, right? Okay. So now I want to set the password for cybersec. I didn't really set the password. I think it could be using the default password. So how do I do this password now? So sudo passwd. Then I will now specify what's his name again, cybersec. From here now, it's not telling me new password. So what will be my password? I won't tell you guys. So I have a password for cybersec right now. So I can log out of this account and cybersec, I will log in with cybersec account because I've created password. But the thing is, I want to delete cybersec. How do I delete it? Should I delete cybersec or delete sec? So let me delete sec. I like that cybersec. How do you delete an account? How do you remove an account? Simple. Sudo user del. That's del for short. Then I will specify. Okay, before I delete, let's confirm if sec is actually existing. So we confirm this is who sec is. Now I want to do away with sec. So what do I do? Sudo user sec. So I've I've deleted sec, but let's confirm if sec is still existing. No. So that is how you remove users from system. Remember, it is the only system user that can do this, which is the admin. So let's talk about group. How do we manage group? I don't know if you watched the video, but I don't know if you understand so far what I did with user deleting, creating, putting passwords, right? I don't know if you are following me. Are you following me? Okay. So Wajud is not here. Okay. So he will get to watch video. So let's look at group management. Remember, every user belongs to a group. So how do we manage a group? In Linux system, group is as important as having a user, right? So groups are used to collectively assign some access rights to a group of users or permissions to multiple users at the same time because they belong to a group, right? So what is a group in Linux? In Linux system, a group is a collection of users who have specific permissions and access rights. Groups are used to specifically access control in file system and make user management more efficient. So to create a group, we use the command called group add. Group add. So here I will now be using sudo group add. So what will be this group now? Let's call them. Let me call it. Okay, let's say cybersec. So I want to call it cybersec, right? Hit enter. So how do I confirm if this group exists? So I just need to check like cat etc group, right? So it will list out all of the group I have. First of all, there's a cybersec group, there's a cyber group, there's a cybersec, the one I just created with the ID now 109. So when I created that user, he had a group, right? So there is other kind of groups. So that is how you create a group. How do you add a user to a group? How do you add a user to a group? It's very simple. So we do sudo user mode, user mode. We will now do user group, that's AG. So what would the group be now? It will now be cybersec. So remember that's the group, cybersec. Then which user am I adding now? Let me add cybersec. So I'm adding cybersec into a group called cybersec, right? So remember, this is the user account we created. This is the group we just created. So I want to add this user into this group. So I'm using sudo user add, then cybersec, the group, then the cybersec account. Enter. So I've successfully added a user to the group. How do you delete groups? Because I want to delete one now. How do you delete groups? Is very simple. Either you are deleting or you are removing. So the same way we delete user, that's the same way we are deleting group. So we'll use sudo group del. So we can now specify cybersec. So we longer don't have cybersec. So if I want to confirm if we really do have cybersec, I'll just do etc group. So we don't have the cyber-sec, right? So permissions. Although we looked at permission yesterday, how you give permission to user, how you assign permission to user, how you give right of a document, of a directory and file to user. Please, I will skip that because of time. It's on the document. We have done that yesterday. It's on the video. I want you to go through it again. And the document holds a different method, right? An additional method. Try to look at it and you will enjoy it. Let me check the time. This is 10:30. 13. Okay, right. I think we have spent up to an hour now, Benga. So what I will be doing, because I have a prayer coming very soon, I need to pause a little bit so that I can cool off. So tomorrow, because I might be having a class online, so if at all I want to have your time tomorrow, it should be around 12, I don't know, that kind of time, AM, 12:01. I don't know if you guys will be available. Okay. So don't put it from 12 in the night. So that's when 12, it could be 1 hour class. We just, if you can do something every day, 1 hour, max 2 hours is going to be fine, right? So we are completing this. Please watch those videos. I gave an assignment on you for you guys to research those things I dropped on the group. I will request this assignment not tomorrow. More research about those features. So make more research. My LinkedIn is still pending from your end. At least what Jude is posting, I've seen 2 of his posts. So try to fix all those things, put all those things in place. And we'll see tomorrow. Right? Good night. Thank you very much. Yeah.